All right, so in this episode today, we're actually going to be talking with one of our team members, Kelly, who is our content creator and our content team lead person. And we're going to be discussing exactly how you can, use blogs to generate leads. So for all you HVAC, plumbing, and contractor folks out there, this is going to be a good video for you to tune into so you can get an idea of how you can actually use your blogs to generate leads. Stay tuned. I want to welcome Kelly Fisher to the show. This is Contractor Cast, and we're here today talking about blogging. And Kelly is our content editor / team lead, writing pretty much her and her team pretty much write all the content for all of our clients, even for our own website. And so today we kind of just wanted to talk about the best practices for blogging, how to get those leads, even though they may be long-term leads, how to get those leads, and how to write blogging for local home service contractors out there, HVAC, plumbing, etc. So welcome, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good. So just tell us a little bit about, yourself a little bit. Tell us what you do. I said a little bit of it, but if you want to add to it a little bit, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, as content team lead, a lot of what I do is chasing down fires and putting them out, figuring out resources, who's available to do writing for a particular project at any given time, a lot of mentoring, basic day-to-day team lead type stuff. I also do all of the editing. So if there are errors and typos, it's my fault because I didn't catch them.
Got it. So we know who to go after if that's the case. So the topic today is just, I guess the title of this particular one is how to generate, or how to write effective blogs to generate leads. So give me sort of your take on that. We'll kind of just start off with that general broad scope, and then we'll kind of dive into more nuances as we go.
Well, generally speaking, if you are writing blogs for the purpose of generating leads, you're playing a very long game. Blogs are more about establishing your expertise within the field and showing that amongst all of my competitors, I know better what I'm talking about. And so any leads you're going to gain from those are going to be because people trust you as an experienced person in your field, rather than say, we have the best sales, so choose us for a better price. It's more, we know what we're talking about. We are experts in our field, and you can trust us to do the work correctly. So it's not going to be like a quick turnaround lead generation thing. It's going to be, like I said, playing the long game.
So with that said, I know that we don't write blogs for necessarily all of our clients. We've got quite a few of them. What do you think today? Is that standard still pretty high that people want blogs, or that they're familiar with what you just said, that that's a long game and that's something that's included in their marketing, or are people kind of going away from that?
I think it depends upon the goals of the business. The clients we have who are counting on us for blog writing, they do understand that the blogs are meant to establish expertise and build a relationship, and to more get brand recognition than leads. Leads are a wonderful side benefit, but they're not the main purpose of having blogs written. So the idea is that they will show up in search, and they will be that go-to. So if you're looking for, say, how to tell if your HVAC it needs to be repaired, a blog that has 5 symptoms of a broken HVAC system will be what comes up. And it won't be, you hear weird rattling noises, you smell funky smells coming through vents, and these are reasons you need to call us to repair. It's more, these are signs that your system is in need of repair, and you'll be needing a professional who can come and run a diagnostic. And at the end of the blog, point out that you are available in that area. But if someone's making the search, they may not necessarily find someone who's in their area, because they're going to find the blog that has the best expertise.
Okay.
So you would hope with good SEO that your blog will show up as the one with the greatest expertise in your area. But it's entirely possible that I, based in North Carolina, will be searching for this HVAC blog and find that the best expertise is a blog in Arizona or California, places that have remarkably high temperatures in summer and therefore a lot of air conditioning issues. So the idea is to, establish your expertise and give useful information that's easy to read, easy to understand, and makes a person feel confident in taking the next step. And if that's not your business specifically, at least they know what to look for in their own area.
And so, what you just mentioned there about local versus global, or, finding blogs that are not in your specific area. Just reiterating for our clients and our viewers that obviously SEO, like you mentioned, is still very, very important, and that you definitely want to, as best as you can, focus in on adding those keywords so that people in your area who are doing those searches for AC repair or, weird noises and that sort of thing are at least on the list of Google. Hopefully you're popping up in there, with your blogs and, along with the folks in California and other places, but that, that localized SEO stuff in those blogs helps you come up. And then, like you said, hopefully down the line, if they actually need that service from you, and that, that brand recognition comes up, where they're then ultimately choosing you based on the knowledge that you're sharing.
Yep. And of course, with our blog writing, we always do mention the area that they're in frequently, because we do want to focus as much on SEO as on establishing that expertise. We want to make sure that if you are searching for those signs of a broken down HVAC and you're in, I don't know, Ottawa, that you'll find a blog that was written for a customer who's in the Ottawa area.
Right.
But at the same time, it doesn't guarantee that they'll get an Ottawa HVAC company. They might find a blog from someone in Indiana or further south even.
Okay. And something you mentioned earlier too, just in terms of the type of content, I want to kind of dive into and maybe share with folks evergreen, content, so that, stuff that, and maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more about what that is. I know that term gets thrown out there quite a bit, but elaborate a little bit more about, what evergreen content is and how they can, focus more on that type of content and why that's beneficial.
So evergreen content is a type of content that basically, no matter when you write it or when you publish it, it's going to be relevant. It's going to stay relevant at all times. So the reason they call it evergreen is because, like an evergreen tree, it just don't die.
Right.
So as an example, if you are a plumber, a good piece of evergreen content would be signs that you might have a leak. This is, no matter how plumbing industry changes throughout the years, the signs that you have a leak are probably going to be pretty similar. Like, we may not have iron pipes anymore, but at the same time, if your water bill is getting higher and you don't know why, probably you have a leak. So that's true of iron pipes, copper pipes, PVC pipes, whatever. That's not going to change. So if you were to write an article about signs that you have a leak, and 5 years later you decide you want to recycle that article, you can take it, update it with more current terminology, or, if you've decided to move to a different material or what you work on, or you've gotten new certifications and you want to tout that, you can add that to your blog update and republish it. And the vast majority of what's in that blog will not have changed. It'll still be the same content, but it'll have some fresh keywords and maybe a few new sentences, or, different type of piping used for repair work listed, but it's still going to be basically the same content. So that's why it's called evergreen.
Okay. And so, I think the point for a lot of those folks watching is just that you tend to want to stay away from things that will expire, right? Because you don't want to have to constantly sort of go in and update blogs. You want to have those blogs that you write, like you just mentioned, just be good for years to come, so that they don't have to, make any changes to that in the line.
More topical and less evergreen content is great as well. Like, sticking with plumbing related issues, let's say a few summers ago, there was this really big hurricane that hit the Houston area and caused all kinds of issues. And several of our clients were wanting to do blogs that were typical to that specific hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Harvey. And so, we had like what we're doing to help our neighbors in Houston, or things that you can do to help with the hurricane recovery. And these are great topics that are relevant right now. But yeah, 5 years from now, it won't be relevant anymore. But it's still something that helps to grow your presence in your community now, and to show your relationship to your community and the things that you are doing to be basically a good neighbor and a company that people can trust and rely on and have that good relationship with. So like there is definitely a place for non-evergreen content as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, showing all facets of your company, how you're beneficial to the overall community. That's always a good way to go about doing your business. So on the technical side, what is your recommendation in terms of blog length, right? So we've got sort of the content down on what you should write and why it's relevant, but how long should it be? How short should it be? Most people don't have the time, especially to do these blogs. And then if you are hiring it out, what should we be looking for when it comes to blog length?
Well, I know these days it seems like the longer the blog, the better. I think that depends a lot upon the industry and what we're talking about. Like, I cannot imagine reading a 4,000 word blog about anything contractor related. I'm not even sure that contractors themselves who are experts in their field have the attention span for 4,000 words. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So like we typically feel like somewhere in the 600 to 800 word range is a good, comfortable space that takes about 5 to 10 minutes to read. And it's short enough to keep people engaged, but it's long enough to be informative. And so, the idea is you want people to get good information, but you also want them to stay engaged and stay interested and potentially look for more information to maybe, if they really liked your blog, look through the search function on your website to find related blogs to see if they can get more information. And so, you don't want it to be so long that people check out, but you don't want it to be so short that they're just like, well, that wasn't helpful, and they go looking somewhere else. So, I'd say somewhere in the 5 to 600 up to 800 word count range is a good, comfortable length to be able to wet your whistle, but not bore you.
Okay. So with that link now established, what's some of the ways that folks can go out and find the topics to write about, or the type of content that they should be searching for or putting out on their blogs?
So tools that we have found really useful, Quora is a great website. People go on there and ask questions and answer those questions. So you can go in there and you could just put in like the industry you work in and see all the questions that have popped up and have a veritable gold mine of things that you could then blog about, because these are questions being asked either by consumers looking for information or by other contractors in your field looking for peer information, being, looking for advice on how to tackle particularly knotty issues, or even ideas of how best to explain something super complicated in a way that a customer would be able to understand it and be able to make an informed decision without just feeling utterly lost in technical terms and jargon. So Quora is an excellent website for getting ideas. And of course, another site would be, incredibly enough, Reddit. Like, most people wouldn't think that a social media platform is a great place to go mining for content, but actually it really is, because they have all these subreddits, and you can go into the subreddit that is specific to your industry. And again, just like Quora, there's all kinds of topics, information, even just spitballing from contractors that can give you little gems that you can then use in your blogging.
And that's awesome, because I think both of those are free platforms that you can use. And so that makes it a very valuable tool. Like you just mentioned, two valuable tools that they can really go out and use. And then I think the other thing that I find in dealing with clients is just always just listening to your existing customers, right? So the questions that you get on a daily basis from your existing customers, or people who are calling you up about certain issues, there's another way of perhaps getting ideas for writing blogs if you're getting a consistent question, if you will.
Yeah. Now, we had hope for a title generator tool. There's this AI website that you can generate titles, but I mean, if you want to go there for a good laugh, you can, but the titles they generate are more for things like magazines and fashion and style blogs. So like, I can't remember the name of the title generator, unfortunately, because I would absolutely encourage people to go just to play with it and get a giggle. One of the titles, because we were like, I think we put in like broken down furnace, and it popped up 5 ways that a broken down furnace is better than Britney Spears' Crush album. Like,
Yeah,
so, it's all kinds of stuff like that.
That might not be the one. That might not be the topic to write about.
Yeah, the topic ideas coming from that website are terrible, but hilarious.
Okay. Well, and I think people don't necessarily know either that, we as an agency, we use a lot of tools, right? So we typically use tools that we have to pay for. And that's kind of what helps us. And obviously, Kelly, you're writing content for a bunch of different sites, a bunch of different clients. You're getting ideas just as you're kind of having those conversations with different clients. But, it's really tough for people at home or DIYers who are trying to do this to find those same tools or same quality tools without having to pay for them. But I'm glad you mentioned those 2 resources that they can use along with their clients to kind of keep going. So that's really all I wanted to kind of touch on today. I mean, I think that was pretty good. I really like blogs because obviously they're, just a great way to kind of add content to your site. I don't think content is a bad thing from your standpoint. The more content, the better. And so what do you think about that? Like a lot of people go with these sort of slimmed down sites, but you're a content person.
I would say more is not necessarily better. I mean,
Okay.
Your content needs to be relevant and it needs to be good quality, because a website full of pages that are nothing good on them, it's kind of trash. Nobody's going to stay on it because they're not getting anything of value from that site. So you want to make sure that any content you're producing is valuable and that it is relevant, and that it's something that if a person lands on this page, they're going to read it and they're going to walk away feeling like I learned something today, or I got information that is useful and that I can actually work with. Like, if that's not a long page, good. Like, I had a professor in college that once said, no term paper should be longer than it needs to be to get the point across. Like, if you can get your point across in 1 page, submit 1 page. If you can get your point across in 8 pages, submit 8 pages. But don't write just for the sake of writing. Make it useful.
I think that's a perfect way to sort of summarize and put a point on exactly what we just talked about. That was really awesome. I appreciate it so much, Kelly. And I hope that in the future we can have some more conversations about blogs and other content related subjects the next time.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And so as always, thanks again for tuning in to Contractor Cast and this episode where we discussed blogs and how you can generate leads with those blogs. If you've got questions about your own blogs, or how a company like us can help you generate leads from your blogs, or if you're not blogging already, how we could incorporate that in your current website, reach out to us either through our website, give us a call directly. Either way, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.